Bite-sized.
Welcome everyone to a next episode of Gaikoku Gamers Bytesized. This is Mike, coming to you live through the realm of the interwebs. Today is my review and impressions of Evil Within, from the creators of Resident Evil Comes, the next generation in horror. This is the second horror-based survival game I guess I bought within the last month. I got Alien Isolation, which I'm trudging through, not really enjoying the game. And but we're here to talk about Evil Within. This was a game I was really excited for since its introduction, since I've started seeing stuff from it way back when. And I love a good horror game. I love a good scare. I love the visceralness of what this game was showing. And needless to say, it is very graphic, very graphic, very violent, and not for the squeamish. Is it scary? Nah. It has some jump scares here and there. It's more creepy, I think, than scary. Is it good? Well, that's a matter of opinion. It's been getting mixed reviews. Lately, IGN, I guess, gave it an 8.7, said it was amazing, and a lot of other companies follow suit. There's some, it's been bumping around, but it's been generally well received. This is where it starts to fall apart for me. You pretty much play a story behind it. Actually, let's start with the story first. The story behind it: you play a detective, and you and your team is called to a hospital because there's been mass murder there. And while there, things go pear-shaped, and shit hits the fan. And through the game, it's pretty much, to me, feels like it's segmented in chapters. There's 14 or 15, depending if you have the extra content. But if you pre-order it, I get the extra content comes with the fighting chance content, so that gives you the 15th chapter. They're segmented in such a way that it feels that there's a disconnect between them, because as soon as you get to an end, it doesn't go into the next chapter immediately. It goes to a stage complete, and then there you can save, go to the next chapter, or go back to the title screen, which is fine, I guess, in some games. But it just feels, for this type of game that's story driven, it just feels like there's a disconnect between chapters. It's a little jarring. But we all know that Resident Evil was like that as well. You would have the stage complete and blah blah blah. Give the your time completions and such like that. Story wise, there's not. It's a very mixed up, convoluted affair, patched together by skim sections of dialogue and such, and it's a mindfuck of a game pretty much. And that's just the easiest way to put it. it's very tense at times. The atmosphere is very well conveyed, and the gameplay though I think leaves a lot to be desired. And this is where I find the game fails. It's done in what's like almost a CinemaScope 2.35 to 1 ratio, and on film it works, and in most games it works, and I think it would have worked in this game, but the camera is so close to you that you can't see the floor most of the time. And anytime that you need to pick up something or check for bear traps or other traps on the floor, you have to keep aiming the camera down, because if not, if you have everything level and the camera is level and position in the middle level, which is the normal camera level for most games, you won't be able to see the floor. And that's a big problem, especially when you're running around being chased by zombie-like creatures or big thing guys with chainsaws or such like that, and then you keep running into bear traps. And why? Because, one, you can't see them. So unless you're pointing the camera downwards towards the ground on an angle most of the time, which then obscures what's ahead of you. And from what I can tell, they did this for artistic purposes, for doing it widescreen like that. I think they just did it mainly for the purpose that the company that's doing 1886, The Order, so they could fake out the resolution. That's my personal opinion. It's a very graphically intensive game. The graphics, it's beautiful. There's a lot of stuff going on the screen, a lot of particle effects. It's a pretty rendered heavy, very intensive game, and I think they kind of fudged the resolution that way. I think that's why they did. I don't think it's necessarily an artistic mode to say everywhere a solution. But I'm hoping they patch this. And from what I'm gathering on the boards, a lot of people are too. Nobody's liking this widescreen. And I like the look of widescreen, especially in games. I think it does give the game a more cinematic look, but give us the option either to turn off the widescreen or change the field of view. And unfortunately, the field of view is so short-sighted that it feels like the camera's so far up your own ass that if you're trying to turn the camera around when you're being chased, it always seems like you're face first into a wall or such, and it really really hampers the gameplay, and it makes the gameplay very uneven and very very tough. And if you do not like tough, hard, pull your hero type games, you probably will not like this. At one point I was calling this game a loading screen simulator because you'll spend most of the time looking at the loading screen through the game. It is a very rough and tumble game. You will die a lot. And I started on hard as I normally do on most games. I playing games for a while, so I never play a game on easy or casual or normal. One reason is that because way back when on games like this, you would get a fake ending. You wouldn't get the full ending if you played on easy or such. So, but I ended up turning it back to easy because it was just getting ridiculous. And the strange thing is, on easy, it just seems just as hard. I didn't see the lowering in level. The enemies were still hard to kill. They still killed you very quickly. You still had hardly any health. You find very little bullets. It's a true survivalist game, and I applaud them for that. You really need to know how to survive, how to manage your ammo. It's not a run and gun game because, one, there's very few ammo drops in it. You'll be finding ammo in very, very short supply. You'll be finding health in very, very short supply. Arrows for your bolts for your crossbow in very short supply. You have an upgrade system in it. It's very different. You have jars what look like green jelly, and you take them back to the hospital through teleporting by mirrors. And you sit in this kind of like a really weird electric chair that has these a headset that comes over you with needles, and you probes your brain, and you spend your jars of jelly on different upgrades. Where you can upgrade your maximum sprint, or your maximum health bar, or you can upgrade how many bullets a weapon can hold, or how powerful a weapon is. It's a pretty interesting take on an RPG's upgrade system. But for the love of me, I don't know why a detective of his stature can only run for a maximum, starting at a maximum of 3 seconds before he's completely winded and can't move and has to bend over and catch his breath. I'm assuming that a detective would be able to run a little longer than 3 seconds, and it makes for a very very tough experience, especially in tight situations where you need to get away from an enemy as quickly as possible. That can be upgraded through, of course, the collection and spinning of these jars of jelly. But it's one of the things about his attributes that you upgrade his sprint time. It's very expensive. It takes a lot of collection of jelly to get his sprint time up. The voice acting's not bad when there is acting. Although the one thing I do have a problem with is of the main character. A lot of people find him boring. He hasn't, almost like he's not aware of what's going on. I mean, he's thrown into the situation where the world's crumbling around him. The dead are walking. He's in places he has no idea how he got there, where he's at, why he's teleporting through mirrors. He never questions anything, and then he turns to his partner in one of the scenes. I think it's in chapter 6. He goes, I think there's something wrong with this place. Well, one, you have no idea how you got there. Two, the walls are crumbling. There's bugs and stuff flying around everywhere. The dead are walking. Right there should give you a big red flag of what the hell is going on. But no one ever seems to care. They just take everything in stride. They're like, yeah, you know what? The dead are walking. We're fighting these zombie type creatures. I'm bouncing around from hospital to wooded cabin area to another asylum to a basement of this place where a multi-leg and armed woman's chasing me. It's a regular day for a detective. I know the creator's style game, and it definitely has his style written all over it, but I think it's just very sloppily put together. I'm pretty much through the game, and It gets a little better. It doesn't really pick up, I'd say, really pick up until Chapter 5, Chapter 6, till you're about halfway through the game. Then it really starts getting better than it was, because for the longest time you'll be stuck in Chapter 3, and it's just like, this is ridiculous. Something, you know, you're playing for hours, and you're not pushing any step forward to a resolution. And I think the way it's set up and the way the story's handled, I find it was hard to care about what was happening and care about the characters because you rarely knew them. And it's like you're thrown into the situation and you're giving no background on really anything. And like any other horror story, you're picking up files, you're looking through files, you're listening to audio tapes. These tapes are reel to reel, and they explain some stuff that's been happening. The weird thing is I found that the doctor in one of the tapes sounds just like the cop, so it was a little confusing to hear this guy's voice. It's like, well, I think that's the cop talking, but it's the doctor because he's talking about doing experiments on patients, and I don't know where that's hit it. But psychologically wise, it's a pretty mind screw of a game. It's not, to me at least, not really overly scary. It's more violent and gory. There's some scenes that are big jump scares if you're not expecting them, and they serve the purpose well. Is this a day one purchase? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth the full price of admission, and I almost would wait on it, or if unless they send out a patch that fixes the camera in it. Because that's one big thing that's really irritates me about the game is the camera. It's too close. They don't need this widescreen. Yes, it looks very cinematic, and it may work well for them, but as far as the game goes, I don't think it does the game justice. And, you know, it does look cinematic, but it hampers a lot of your vision because the camera is so close. And if there's any patch they can put out to fix this game, please, just put in a patch that fixes the camera. And I think that will clear up a lot of the issues I'm having with the game. It makes it very hard to control, and you'll die a lot from traps because you just won't see them. But anyways, this is Mike from Gaikoku Gamers. If you played the game, if you own it, tell us what you think in the comments. Let us know how you're enjoying it, if you are, or if you plan on picking it up, and for what system. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and comment. We like hearing from you, and we like interacting with our fans. So, until next time, folks, this is Mike from Gaikoku Gamers.
Gaikoku Gamers.
Bite-sized.